So one of the things that we like to say is we like creating and correcting.
Yeah.
Because digital marketing is moving so fast. The online atmosphere is moving so fast. New platforms are coming out. You have to be able to create as much content as possible, learn from that content, and then correct and redo. Make the sound, and let's get this going. We're with Nish today. Nish, give me a little bit of the information about Nish. Where are you from, and what are you doing now?
So yeah, I was originally born in South Africa, and my parents moved to Edmonton originally when I was 2 years old. From Edmonton, my dad found an article in a newspaper and took a job working for a soft gelatin manufacturer in Olds, Alberta.
Yeah.
And from there, that's where I grew up, Olds, Alberta. You know, the token brown guy that you know, good friends with cowboys and dairy farmers and hockey players.
Yeah.
You know, life for me was a lot of diversity for sure early on.
Yeah.
Trying to find my way, and fortunately, though, I have a lot to be grateful for the community of Olds. And
living in a small town, how does that translate today? Because I think you're going to carry a lot of those small town traits with you always. Am I correct in saying that?
You know what? Like I said, I'm grateful for the small town.
Yeah.
Because it taught me, you know, simple things. You know, be nice to your neighbor. Greet like in a small town. There's the pros and the cons, but you know, for the most part, you're greeting everyone you meet. Everyone knows you. Especially being me, just because I have the darker complexion, and I've always been told I've had a pretty big smile, and so I've been fortunate that people kind of remember me that way.
Yeah.
But I do hold Olds very close to my heart, just because you know, being from South Africa, I never knew that background. I went there when I was 7. But unfortunately, I don't know much about it. I know more about Olds than I do know South Africa.
Yeah.
And so my upbringing in Olds, like I said, was a lot of diversity. People had to get used to the fact that there were immigrants in the community.
Yeah.
And I had to grow up with the knowledge and kind of use my instincts in terms of interpersonal skills and developing those and making relationships. Whether that was in the hockey community, you know, in high school I was fortunate to be very involved with leadership programs, student council, Interact Club, fundraising for local initiatives and global initiatives. I was in drama club, I tried acting.
Yeah.
You know, I was fortunate that my parents put me in a lot of sporting activities. I did golf, I did hockey, I did soccer. And for immigrant family, that's pretty tough to put your kid into all these things. So for that, I'm pretty grateful for my parents and the work that they've put into building a life for my sister and I, who my sister now has a family for her own and 2 kids for herself. And you know, kudos to them, because they had a great life in South Africa, and they gave it all up just so that I could come here, and now I'm a marketing professional.
Yeah.
I say professional very lightly, because I'm growing into...
We're always learning.
I'm always learning, and you know, going from that transition from high school to schooling afterwards, to finding jobs to get you by, to trying network, putting yourself out there. I've learned a lot, and I'm grateful for Olds for that.
You said to me before we aired that in high school you were hoping one of the goals when you finished high school was to be a marketing professional in oil and gas.
Yeah.
You've achieved that now. What were the steps to get there, and what's your kind of next goals after that?
You know, like, I was fortunate to, you know, I started a blog in Olds.
Yeah.
The blog...
What was the name of the blog?
The blog was called Humans of Olds.
Yeah.
Based off the Humans of New York.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, I've always believed in intentional relationships. At the time, 20 years old, I was unemployed, trying to figure things out for myself. I borrowed my sister's camera and I started walking around the community. I contacted some people that I knew of, and I said, hey, I'm doing this blog and I'd like to just write your story.
I love that.
And
the power of the internet.
The power of the internet. And fortunately at the time, it was 2015, the oil and gas industry was just going down, and Olds is not a very heavily is not heavily driven by oil and gas. However, the trickle down effect.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to create some sort of positive forum, blogs type, where people could read about each other, get connected, because I believe that all of us are connected. We just have to find a reason to relate. And so I went around, found amazing people who've battled cancer, people who are teachers, nurses, athletes. I had an Olympian on there. I was fortunate that the people that I met had amazing stories to tell. I used my skills of writing. I've always been someone that's enjoyed writing. I find writing therapeutic. I got away from that in my early 20s, but my early teens, I rediscovered that you got to double down on your strengths. And so I wrote these people's stories, and fortunately within 3 months I had 9,000 followers. It was on CBC, it was on Global, and it was serving its purpose of connecting our community. And the larger, I had reached into the United States. So it was cool.
What was you got that earned media, you got the CBC, you got a lot of attention. What was that like, and how did that translate into kind of the future successes and finding your job in the industrial industry?
I was fortunate, that when you get that kind of media coverage, it obviously boosts the page, it boosts myself, it gives you a platform. In this day and age, your platforms, your other resumes are your social networks. We're living a different time period now where people are looking at social media page. They'll look at your resume, but they'll also look at your social media pages, because that's just the world we live in now.
I always look at LinkedIn pages. One of those things is a LinkedIn page gives me a lot of information about the resume, about the applicant. Go straight to LinkedIn and see what the profile looks like.
And for me, I don't creep or lurk, but I use the words of looking at people's Facebooks, because personality is a huge thing. If you can get along with someone, if you can find a commonality, it makes the work you're going to pursue that much easier. So going back to your question, CBC, Global, those kinds of things, they gave me a platform to get my name out there. I was telling the world I'm a marketer. And one thing led to another. I was coaching I was coaching kids hockey. And a parent on the team basically was telling me that we're looking for a marketer. And next thing you know, I'm in the oil and gas. Well, we're a mechanical service company that services the oil and gas industry, and we also service mining, forestry, and because of our equipment and the services that we're able to perform, we're kind of diversified that way.
And is that what brought you to Edmonton?
So I was that was 20, 21. Actually, when 3 months I was doing the blog. After the blog, I got hired on by a community nonprofit organization. It was called the Olds Institute for Economic Regional Development. And so I was their project coordinator, and I did a 9-month stint there. And after that 9-month stint, I transitioned to a service company. Nice.
And once you got to Edmonton, what was that transition like, going from the small town to the big city?
Yeah, man. I mean, even right now, I'm still trying to find myself. I was in Olds. I was trying to find myself there. And thankfully, the job kind of gave me enough self-esteem and direction on how to kind of get myself through the day-to-day life. So I knew if I had the groundness of work, that everything else would kind of fall into place. I'd get a routine. And that was the biggest thing. I needed to find a routine. I needed to find something that would allow me to to build discipline and consistency, because that's what I was lacking in my earlier years. And yeah, I really searched for that, something that would give me that discipline.
So do you, I like asking this question because sometimes I like a little organized chaos, but at the same time, having things planned helps you get through the day every single day, provide some structure. So are you one of those guys that you want as much structure as possible when doing your marketing campaigns and going out and trying to promote a business? Or do you like it a little bit chaotic once in a while?
You know, I think you need that chaos initially, just to give you that excitement, that initial excitement. But I do believe that you need to have some structure, or at least make everyone aware, or the business that you're doing, of what you're doing, right? You need to make sure, because it's hard as marketers. People just like, you know, sometimes you regurgitate on someone and they don't know what, they don't know what your plan is. And I fell into that just because of my, being inexperienced. Sometimes I can just regurgitate on my bosses, and all of a sudden they'll be looking at me like deer in the headlights kind of thing. And so I've realized you got to backpedal a bit. You can have some excitement, but in order for everyone who's not in a marketing role, who is not, you need to make everyone understand what you're doing at a very ground level. So one of the things that we like to say is we like creating and correcting, because digital marketing is moving so fast. The online atmosphere is moving so fast. New platforms are coming out. You have to be able to create as much content as possible, learn from that content, and then correct and redo. How do you take that in your day-to-day doing marketing in the industrial industry, which is different than other industries? Right? You're filling out RFPs, you're meeting clients, you're networking lots. At the same time, you have to create touch points with your customers. So take me through that. How do you manage that? So right now, since we offer, in our company we offer a lot of different services. We offer a lot of different equipment. Our target audience is from people who are engineers, or construction managers, project managers, quality. You can have people. Your audience is always going to be there, and touch points. You need to make them as frequent as you can. However, with a company like us, it's pretty easy just to tell everybody everything at once. But that's not what you want to do, right? You want to cater to your audience. And so for me, the challenges that I face is finding a way to have content that people are going to learn. No
worries. Trying to create value, I think, is what you're getting at, right? Have content, but still hold some stuff back.
Because you don't want to regurgitate frequently. You want to, kind of 1-2 punch. So when I say 1-2 punch, give some feelers out there, show the personal side of your company, of who works for you. And I'm a big believer of that, because people will always, buy on quality, safety, technical, location. However, in this day and age, and it is a slow transition, but especially in our niche market, our audiences, they are interested in the people that work for us. They are interested in who's the guy that's picking up the phone, that's calling them, that's setting up their project, or who's the person that's guiding them through their product, who's telling them how to set it up, or finding the right product for them. And it might not seem like they might not want to know everything about that person, but if they can connect on a different level and they have a reason to call back, well, that's a win, because you always want to provide value, and you hope that they return.
We believe in is we take all clients, doesn't matter what industry, and especially in industrial, through what we call a touch point cycle. So we create subconscious and inbound touch points, and you take them all the way around the cycle, provide as much value as possible. And then you rely on timing, because in industrial industry, there's certain projects that come up and then RFPs get sent out. That's timing. A customer is not able to buy from you every single day, right? So as long as you're creating that touch point cycle and you keep your business in the top of that company's mind, When they're ready and they have that job, then they're going to pick up the phone and they're going to call you. So I love that. I think you're doing the same thing.
Yeah, and like I said, so my boss likes to tell me we have tons of content. You don't need to necessarily go out and video or do our own photos, use our manufacturing photos, use all that, which I understand, but we want to give people content they're going to engage with.
Yeah, I need to give them value. I need to engage emotions.
You need to engage emotions. Social media, you can also switch that word around to personality. It's your personality.
I like authenticity as well.
Yeah, and authenticity. Yeah. It's a great word to use. Is like, imagine your social platform is a sales tool or a person, and that LinkedIn, that Instagram account, that whatever social account that is a person that's meeting another person.
Yeah.
Essentially, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And so what you got to think to yourself, what is it that I can provide this person, and what can I educate them on what we do? And it's just like, a relationship or a friendship or it's either of those things, right? It's how can you nurture it? How can you make it grow?
It's two-way interaction.
Yeah.
Right? So we see so many mistakes out there where content goes out and there's no two-way interaction, there's no commenting, there's nothing. It's important to engage with that audience, 100%. Find a way to provide that value, and then engage in that social aspect.
I agree, and like you said, the emotion, I feel is the biggest thing that can connect people. We're all human. We all have emotions. We all laugh. We all cry. Some more than others. Yeah. But at the end of the day, that's what your content is there for. You're trying to pull those emotions.
I love it. We have your quote here that you brought in from Denzel, and dreams without goals remain dreams, just dreams, and ultimately fuels disappointment. And this was part of a bigger speech that he had. But take me through this quote and what it means to you.
So I've been, like I told you earlier, I've just been trying to grow into myself and grow into being an adult, and I've been thankful and fortunate to have great mentors, have great managers, have great support. Moving away from Olds into the city. You're not seeing the same people as much, and now it's kind of like you're here to work and build your career. And I don't know if it's just like Edmonton or what it is, but like I feel like everyone just works.
Yeah. Well, we're hustlers.
We're hustlers, right? And I definitely feel that, and it's a cool feeling. It's something that I feel connected to. It's not just me. It's you. It's him. It's everyone that's waking up in the morning.
Get shit done.
Yeah. And this quote here, it resonates with me. Dreams without goals remain dreams, just dreams, and ultimately fuels disappointment. Because right now in my life, you can wake up in the morning, you can go through the motions, you can show up at work. But if you're not setting targets, and if you're not crossing things off your task list, then you're kind of just spinning your wheels.
It plays to that structure you talked about that you liked earlier, right? You like that structure, you like to have that daily routine, and that translates into the goals that you have. And if you have that structure in your goals, you make it happen. So
and I've been, like, I'll be honest, I lack that in times of my life. And when I look at all the people I read about, you watch all these great, Gary Vaynerchuk, any Robert Kiyosaki.
We watch Gary all the time.
You guys watch all these great people, and you see what they set up for themselves. Well, it didn't just happen.
No.
They didn't just.
It's a long-term game.
It's a long-term game, and I'm trying to drill that in my head right now, because as a young person, we live in the world where we want everything now. And I have to talk myself into this, because I have the tendencies like other people may have, and I'm being honest because I'm human, and I'm trying to practice this as much as I can in my life, because it's the minute goals, it's the hour goals, it's the weekly goals, it's the monthly goals that will help achieve your yearly goals. And as a 23-year-old guy, I'm trying to implement that in my life right now, because I've got big goals that I want to achieve.
I love it, Nish. Nish, thank you. Thanks for those insights.
Yeah.
I'm glad to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me, man.
And we'll get you back sometime.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks, Jerry.
Thanks.